millions of vulnerable Americans struggle to get reliable transportation to their medical appointments. That's why I started MedHall. Citi launched the Impact Fund to invest in both women and entrepreneurs of color like me so I can realize my vision and give everything I've got to my company and my community. I got you.
For the love of people, for the love of community, for the love of progress. Citi.
Welcome to the PaleyFest Fall TV Previews. I'm Whitney Cummings. Always a bummer to have to say that. And I am delighted to be your host for this special conversation celebrating True TV's Tacoma FD, a show I happily ruined. Thanks to PaleyFest's official card and official sponsor, Citi. Thank you, Citi, for making this event possible. Today, we are thrilled to welcome the members of the gifted cast and creative team of Tacoma FD. Joining us are series creators and stars Kevin Heffernan and Steve Lemmy. I hope I said those names in the right order. And cast members Marcus Henderson, Eugene Cordero, Hassie Harrison, and Gabriel Hogan. Welcome, everyone, to my panel.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Wow, thanks for and action.
Yeah, that was really professional.
Intro.
Is that any notes or?
No, you're engaging us in conversation very well.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I think we're done.
I'm a very charming person, and that's why I'm not engaged at all or married. So let's start with some questions, shall we?
Yeah.
How that?
Do you guys have any questions for me?
Yeah. Do you have any monologues?
I have a couple. I could also just read from my journals, or, we can do that. Well, let's do that later. That's on my OnlyFans. I'm gonna at least profit off of it.
Got it.
Steve?
Wait, your OnlyFans just pay for listening to read from your journal?
Well, I'm covered in lime green Jello, and I have a cardboard cutout of Hassie's face that I put over my face.
Okay.
You could have asked me that. I knew that.
People love it,
That's true.
Hassie.
It's a true story.
You really should get on there. I'm making a lot of money off you.
It's funny and intriguing.
Steve and Kevin, could you set up season 3 for us? Tell us about the fun hijinks. Are there hijinks?
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
There's
Hijinks.
There's a lot of hijinks.
Is there a wacky caper? Is there a
It's kind of interesting. This season, there are obviously constraints on shooting this year. We kind of sailed into the headwinds of COVID. And so we kind of had to take that into consideration. And I think that a lot of the show this season is about kind of internal things, kind of like us inside the station and the relationship we have with each other. In the past season, we went kind of out in the world, it was a little more external, but now I feel like it's more internal. So it's kind of fun. We got a chance to do a lot of pranks on each other.
Oh yeah. Oh, tell me about the onset pranks and the skullduggery.
By the way, I just want to say, great answer, Kev. That was a fucking great answer.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, man.
I still have my positives, right?
By the way, did he say the headwinds of COVID?
No, he opened with that. Which was the price of admission.
Well said.
The headwinds of COVID. A new novel, Kevin Heffernan.
Yeah.
So I think you end up finding a lot more out. You find out a lot more about our relationships as characters and backstories of people and things like that. I think there's gonna be a lot more of that this season than there's been in the past season.
Yeah, and he had to mention COVID because the Delta strain actually developed in the piñata behind him, so that's why it's just. Steve, do you have any hijinks that Kevin didn't bring up that you'd like to discuss?
No, he did a really great job, but I think he was right about the character stuff. We dove into the characters, like for instance, Hassie's character Lucy is no longer a probie in season 3, and we go into that, and that's a pretty heavy prank episode, including such pranks as coleslaw in the boots.
Classic.
The old coleslaw in the boots.
Yeah.
Gets you fool me once.
Right. That's right. But we did one of my favorite pranks is in that one. It's called Never Ending Dishes, where
Oh yeah,
classic
all
from
of
the
these are
firefighter.
happening to me.
And I see a book behind you called Improv Nation, which brings me other side. Swivel, look at you. Improv Nation, I see that. Everyone here is known for their brilliant ability to improv. Want to talk about how much improv happened this season? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's another thing that's kind of cool, and I'll let these guys chime in, but I think in the editing of this thing, we realized that everyone has become so much more comfortable with each other. Like, all of us have become friends off camera, and it translates into the performance.
Not
So
happy,
now,
not happy.
That's not what I saw.
for the most part, I like to think so.
I'm joking.
And then, I think you can bring that to the table, and the improvs kind of reflect that, where people are much more comfortable with each other,
Could you say?
Yeah,
when
you're go ahead.
no, yes, and no, you're talking now. I got it.
Yes, and that's good. The book. I was just gonna say, when you are sailing into the winds of COVID, it's good to have a good crew with you, and if you're all mates, it's easy to navigate the waters of a show like this, and
Most importantly, when you have
keep
a
it tight.
captain.
Sure.
Right.
And
Right. That's it. That's my bit. All right, guys. See you later. Thanks so much.
Parentheses for Steve and Kevin. How do you go about cultivating concepts episodically and by seasons?
these are great questions, Ms.
I
Palmer.
thank you. I worked all night on it.
A lot of this stuff comes from personal history with each other. I mean, certainly, like with Kevin and me, it's just things that bug us about each other. In this, whatever, fuck that answer. And but it's from getting to know each other. Like, as we shoot each season, we're just writing things down, or like people are doing bits, and we're like, God, that would be such a funny thing to do. Or it's like somebody comes up with something in improv, and we're like, that's something we need to dive into a little bit more, like these side jobs. Like Marcus keeps talking about how on all the TV court shows, there's a black bailiff, and so we've decided that his side job has to be that he's a bailiff. So that's something we're going to dive into next season.
That's right.
Marcus, do you have any?
Lying as a bailiff.
Do you have any HR complaints?
That'll be for another time. But no, Eugene came up with the perfect song. It's called
Black Bailiff, dang the dang. Oh, Black Bailiff, dang the dang. Black Bailiff, dang the dang. I was ready, buddy. I had your theme song ready.
If I don't get to play the entitled toxic white judge on the spinoff Black Bailiff, I will be so pissed.
That day was so funny. Doing that riff with you guys was so funny, and that probably cost us half a day of shooting, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
It was worth it.
So funny, man.
I think there's a bit every day that costs us half the day of shooting.
I've witnessed it. Yeah, I've witnessed it.
But to Lemmy's point, I think he's there with his iPhone writing stuff in, and he's like, "That's next season," or "This is this." It's like full of, ideas being born, man.
Gabriel, do you have any ideas, like for an A story? Do you ever contribute?
No, God, no.
Although I will say
I
that
do a lot of bits.
Hassie went up into the mountains to shoot Yellowstone between season 2 and 3, and then she came back a different person. Something happened to her in the mountains, and season 3 Hassie Harrison is lighting it up, and people are gonna, and it coincides with Lucy's coming of age, I think.
But you can't light anything up if you're on the tailwinds of COVID, because that'd be that's on a different place.
Except that she's the beacon in the COVID storm.
Got it.
Yeah.
What happened, Hassie, in the mountains there?
Well, it's never too soon to start your autobiography, and I don't know. I don't know what happened in the mountains, but I guess I came back different.
She came back, I think, like 5 inches taller, left-handed.
Yeah.
No longer
always
allergic to
left-handed.
nuts.
I kept trying to tell you, Gabe, I've been left-handed from the beginning, but
Oh, well,
yeah.
This is news to everyone, I think. I think it's a lie also.
It's a woman. You can't trust anything she says.
Hash, don't you think that you came back, or I don't know what it is, or you're certainly more comfortable, and maybe it's because of the relationship that you have with all of us, but
yeah, I think it's just my relationship with you guys, and also like
The ayahuasca in the mountains?
some of that, but also
If that's true, that was absolutely an accident.
Ms. Cummings, you know that.
nothing's an accident, Whitney Cummings. But I will say, like, I think our kind of rapport with each other, and then, you know, like, not to be a cheese dick, but I also, like, I've learned a lot from you guys, and like being on set and what is, you know?
Oh, good phrase.
Cheese dick. What's going on with everybody's vocabulary today?
It's like 1985.
It's either the 20s or the 80s. There's nothing current has happened. And so, Hassie, inquiring minds want to know, what is it like being on a set with a bunch of guys all the time? The towel whipping, are we doing purple nurples?
I've got like, we don't do that so much. No, I think, you know what I mean? I think so much there's the nuance of like, you know, these guys in particular, and they're all like, you know, they're good people. And so it's fun and it's easy. And they kind of, you know, have taken me under their wings in different ways. And half the reason I'm funnier is just because, you know, you get like, I'll try something and you kind of get that little nod from one of your big bros. And they're like, yeah, do that again. And you know, that like, that's part of where that confidence comes from, and sponging up from, you know what I mean? Like a lot of times I'm just parroting what I hear Eugene do, and then that everybody laughs and thinks it's me.
That is the key to success in Hollywood. Steal, steal, steal.
Steal from Eugene. That's the key.
Well, don't steal from the wrong person.
It was like that. Finally, I get to talk about myself. When I was on, I was lucky enough to be on the set when I had like 2 or 3 brain cells. I was in like peak COVID fog, and I've never been on a set that was more supportive and kind, and it felt so cool to watch all these guys like you got to come in and you always had great jokes. Like you know, it's for the longest time we've seen the girl just as the setup, and she's the, you know, doesn't really get to do much, and just watching you out there just like killing with them is just like so funny because you're so much funnier than all the guys, you know?
Yeah.
My girl.
Is that spoiler alert? Are we alerting that Whitney Cummings is in the season of Tacoma FD?
God damn it.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Well, there was no alert. It was just a straight spoiler. There was no alert.
Should I not have done that? Can you cut it out?
I love that. I mean, the nice
No,
thing
it's
is-
Listen, there's a bunch of Reddit threads out there that people are waiting to find out what is happening in the next episode of Tacoma FD, because it's such a serialized show.
I started 5 of them, so don't be fooled.
That's true.
Well, you know, in full disclosure, Whitney, you joined us for an episode, and you were fantastic.
My body did. My brain was not there, but yes, my body was there.
It was. I think you were coming off COVID. I think I was coming off COVID.
Yeah, it's great. We actually have a clip of it. You want to play that? Go ahead, play it.
Cut to the clip.
Up to the clip.
But it was really amazing to
napping.
watch because I do think a lot of the television that is about to come out is about to be so much deeper in a way, because it's going to have to focus on relationships. You're limited with where you're allowed to go and what you can do in groups. So it is so exciting to just see you guys together and deepening your relationships, which is maybe a choice that was kind of forced to be made or something we wouldn't normally think of. But COVID forced everyone to either like level up or they just, couldn't figure it out. But being on set I had been on other sets and there was so much fear and there was so much, there's people there's a skeleton crew and the people that are there, other people stayed home. I mean, it felt weird sometimes. Everyone's afraid of each other, and coming onto your set, it was just like we're going to do this safely. We are going to bond together and figure out a way to make, because when fear is present, no other emotion can exist. You can't do improv if you're scared. I think that's in the first chapter of your book, Improv Nation. If you want to pull it out. I just want to make sure that was correct. I don't want to be wrong about improv.
It's also plugging this book, right? You wrote this, right, Lynn?
Yeah, is this also?
I did. You can buy this on Amazon. SteveLemmy.com.
And it was to be able to. There were so many sets I went on to where there was it didn't feel funny. It was everyone was trying to do as few takes as possible, and being in there and having Kevin be like, "We got that. We don't need just adjusting to the situation," and no tension coming up was just wonderful. There's no joke.
Oh, you didn't see it. You didn't see it.
No, I was. Well, I also had
sure.
I and they let me.
Tension doesn't count.
they let me do a backstory for my character. I chose that she was in a plane accident and had full amnesia and no functioning hippocampus. So thank you for letting me make that choice.
Amazing. I mean, you were great, man. You were a force of nature. It was great. You came on and just killed it. It was awesome.
Well, I can't compete with your acting prowess, which is basically watching hockey in between takes and at the last minute running in to the scene.
You know what? But you admit it, and that's a tough thing because
We all have our process. We all have our creative process. Yeah. And yours is to sneakily look down at hockey when it's not your coverage. Yeah. We all have our acting process.
Yeah.
Whitney, he's not even sneaking
Front
it.
Street.
He had his iPad. He has his iPad out in the open, and he's just watching the fucking TV.
She brought it up. Trust me, she brought it up when she was waiting to make an entrance. She's like, "What's happening with that?
What's going on?"
I'm stalling my entrance because it's the.
He's also talking about the hockey to nobody in particular. He's like, "Oh yeah, Matthews just got a power play goal. If anybody." Oh, okay.
You care, Lem. You care.
This is my question because there's just no shortage of stories and you guys making things funny. And one scene, I've seen it, that's 2 pages because everyone's adding and improvising, making funnier and funnier. Like, I don't know how in post you guys even cut this down, but are there any stories that you've sort of been wanting to do, but for whatever reasons, logistically, it's been a thing that's like, I'll do that next season. I'll do that. Like that you've just never gotten to, but that you're dying to do. That's like been on the board for a couple of years.
We had written all kinds of things like a parade. We'd written like I throw out the first pitch at a little league game and I bounce it. You know, there were all these like funny bits that we wrote into it, and we just had to scrap them just because we couldn't shoot them this year.
Why couldn't we shoot them this year?
Well, we were sailing into the headwinds.
There it is. All right, good night, everyone.
By the way, that's a callback. That's chapter 4 of Improv.
Well, maybe it is, but let's think about it.
Like any other things that like what, for example, just for the like fans, they love this stuff, or do you worry that it's a spoiler for not? Like, what was the thing? Did you say a bowling alley?
No, just kind of these big public scenes. You know, we get a lot of ideas from firefighters about going out on funny calls or going out into the public and doing funny things, and they're just things that we had to table this year. So we have them, and Lemmy has them in his iPhone now for us to do next year, whether it is the parade scene or something, a little league game, or whatever it is, like these funny calls that we go on. A lot of them we just couldn't do, so
right.
We'll do next year. Yeah.
Anyone else want to chime in on that?
I don't think they talk about Granny's love of Jeopardy too much. I think we established that, but we never did anything with it. So what's up, you guys?
Let's work that in.
Yeah, we gotta get Granny on Jeopardy.
Wait, where isn't Jeopardy in LA?
You gotta get Granny hosting Jeopardy just to get taken by some dude nobody ever heard of before.
Yes.
Marcus, you also have, we also supposed to do an entire puppet episode, right?
Yeah, we still have to do an entire puppet episode, please.
Stop trying to get your piñata in the show more.
His piñata makes it into what is it, episode 7, Kev?
Yeah.
And the sweet thing about his piñata is it looks like Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
Get over here.
That's true.
Lemmy and Kevin Heffer.
Bring him up. Bring him up.
Yeah,
how does it stand up? Do you have little sandbags on his feet? Oh my, okay.
See,
Don't hold him there. Don't touch him there. Don't touch the dog.
There he is.
Turn him to the side to really see how the proportions are correct. There.
No butt. Big butt.
Yeah.
Yeah, no touch.
Yeah.
This looks like it's a PaleyFest thing for Bob's Burgers with them.
Thought starter questions. Okay, what's your favorite style of comedy? We're going to go down the line, and your views on the state of comedy on television.
Wow, that's a big question.
I know. Why don't we start with Gabriel? You look like you have an answer.
Yeah. Of course, I always have an answer.
I like Letterkenny.
I think, Letterkenny is great, but that's a good example. That's one end of the spectrum. Also, I would.
Do you love Letterkenny?
I think it's funny. Yeah, I do for sure. Okay. And it is Canadian. I love all things Canadian. Okay. I think God rest his soul, Chris Farley's comedy is up there for me, and that whole kind of everything. I watched Tommy Boy the other day, and I thought it's so fucking funny and so good, and he's so great. And I also recently watched.
By the way, over
Midnight.
the break, I watched Beverly Hills Ninja. Like,
Right.
I was screaming. I had to like pause it and like go walk around the block and laugh and come back.
Yes.
Kung
Yeah,
Fu. Kung
absolutely.
Fu. That was the tagline of the poster. Kung Fu.
And it was one of the watching back, I was like, are people going to try to cancel this if I tweet about it? I'm like, no. Like, there's just something about Farley where it's like it always felt so good intentioned that you just
Yeah.
can never come for it.
Yeah, and the place and his vibe, like he's just the life of the party, and you root for him, and he's just so funny. His timing, his physical stuff, everything is. I mean,
It's like he's
just,
not hurting anyone except himself. Like physically, every time he does a scene, you're like, is he okay? Like just the way.
Right, yeah, right. Totally. Absolutely. Yeah, that's. And then I was gonna say I also watched. Is it Midnight Run, which is
Oh,
Robert De
yes.
Niro and Charles Gordon.
Charles Grodin.
Grodin.
Only guys who passed away I talk about. But him on the other side of the spectrum, so subtle, so funny, and the amazing Joey Pants was in that, who's also on our show, who was amazing in it. And it's so funny, but you know, the two sort of, I picked those two out. And I went, well, this two sort of ends of the spectrum that I love so much, right? Wait, is that the whole question?
Yeah, I think you answered it for everybody.
That's the whole answer.
Yeah.
And the state of comedy now, I don't watch anything but our show, and I think it's great. So
Only they get you. You have them send you just your coverage, and you re-edit it.
Yes.
Just you.
that's it. I only wear the clothes from it, the coffee cup. This is me
Like,
every day.
I actually live on the set. I'm here. I am homeless.
Like comedic inspirations for me, like all the grumpier old men out to sea, like Jack Lemmon, Walter Matthau, and that I see so much of that in like Kevin, Steve, the way they kind of like
Just like in their age, like just basically their age.
like,
I'm sorry. What did you say?
yeah, basically just in their age. Come again? No, but I remember like watching those as a little girl, and I was like, I couldn't believe people could do that for a living. So you know, it's cool to like get to be around, to me, the modern version of that. These two curmudgeons.
Is it a little bit jarring or exciting or challenging to go from, you know, doing the show in the mountains or shooting, you know, the other show that you do? Am I allowed to say the name of it, or am I going to get a dart in the neck? Okay, so on Yellowstone, and then coming to this set, like, are the vibes just so different?
They are spectacularly different, and you know, I will say, I think comedy is the most challenging. It's the most exacting. It's like, you know, you got to have timing, and you have to be with it in a way that, you know, anybody can walk up on a drama set and be like, where'd you come from, or whatever. But you know, so it's pretty cool to get to like, you know.
Did you just sell out your other show?
Oh.
That's just drama in general, and I do. Yeah,
That's
I
true.
feel that way. I do.
I agree with that, man. I 100%
I
agree
think
with that.
I think comedic acting is by far you have to be a genius thespian. I mean, you have to be able to do.
Thank you for saying that about me.
I'm just saying.
Appreciate it.
Yes, us comedians, what we do is like, it is impossible. I mean, I don't even know.
Next.
What? I feel like you want to say something.
No. I was thinking, I'm like, did I answer the question? Next.
But so wait. So your influences are the guys from Yellowstone? What's the?
No.
And Walter.
It
Oh, I
was
thought not that.
Charlie Chaplin and Mae West.
Hello.
I couldn't hear.
Makes sense.
Are you watching anything, Hassie? Like, do you, as a, you know, comedic actress, and also, do you like watching other comedies? Because sometimes I'm like, I don't want to see stuff because I don't want it to influence the choice, like, or it feels like work, or.
Well, I mean,
Has being on a comedy make you
the
lose?
American Office.
Yes.
So that's just kind of my aperitif to whatever else I'm watching in the world. But no, I know what you're saying a little bit. Sometimes I kind of just like to stay in my own lane, you know?
Gabriel, now that you heard a good answer, do you have anything else to say about your other? Do you want to add anything to yours?
Yeah, I do.
or-
You know what? I think the funniest thing that's on right now that I'm loving is I Think You Should Leave.
Yeah.
It's absolutely.
Well, that's
bonkers
so
funny.
ironic because I think you should leave.
Yeah. Well, all right. Good night, everybody. Thank God.
Kevin, what about you? I'm sure you've had to answer this question at Comic-Con a million times, but
Sure.
for new
No,
fans.
I talked some people's ears off about this, but I really loved this first season of Ted Lasso. And there's something about that show to me that shows that you can do kind of a good-natured feeling thing while also being really funny and having great characters. And I think, like, for a little while, it goes in cycles, but I think TV comedy sometimes, there was this kind of stretch where it was more about the kind of neuroses and depression, and they would take a comic and make that show about that.
Yep.
And I think the Ted Lasso kind of effect is kind of swinging it back the other way to make things a little more good-natured. And I think that's the space that we live in. I think it was for us, let's create a world that people want to hang out with, and you like the people and they want to be friends with them. And to me, that's the great effect that Ted Lasso is having. I think it's swinging the pendulum back to more kind of good-natured comedy.
Something that we've always loved to do is we never pick on anybody. We just, if somebody starts to fuck with us, then we'll come after them. But like for the most part, we try to make it, like Kevin was saying, like a group of friends. Oh look, Gabe just tuned out. He doesn't want to come out.
Yeah.
Notifications are not.
Yeah, like your friends can rag on each other. You can rag on your friends, but like it's like we're not gonna just start picking on people randomly and try to get comedy out of that. I don't really want to see that. Like when I see comedians attacking people, I kind of tune out on that.
Okay, well, paid for my house, but sure.
Yeah, no, it's it's funny because like the thing I like about Ted Lasso, I've only just started watching it now, is when we started making this show, the network said no emotion, do not have one single ounce of emotion. It's just jokes, and we tend to do that.
And I always fought for the heartfelt father-daughter stuff.
True.
Well, it was funny because the one line of emotion we had in your first episode, Hassie, in that episode 3, it was like one nice exchange between you and Kevin, like one line each. That was all the network
And you cut it?
would allow. No, that we kept it in, and that was what the reviewers latched onto. They were like, and it actually has emotional content. And
two lines
got us all that cred. And that's something I've been enjoying about Ted Lasso, is that like it actually feels pretty real to me. Like there's moments where like there's the comedy, and then they break away to like just get a little bit of realism in there, which I think is cool. It makes.
Oh man, what are we doing next season then, guys? Hold on.
I think Fleabag does that really well too.
We're killing off the Ike Crystal character, and in season 1 or in season 4, episode 1.
Ted Lasso would not do that.
Marcus, what are you watching? What has inspired you?
Oh man. I'm a big like animation guy. Like I love animation. I love puppets. So anything with that just pretty much just takes me there. I'm super inspired by like just innovative things that just hasn't been done. Like everything's been done before, but like when you find a new way to do something that's been done before.
Yeah.
I'm really loving Rick and Morty. This 5th season is just fucking great, man. Like I was like, how do you keep doing this? How do you keep coming up with this brilliant, like, I don't know. He just kept having
cocaine.
Cocaine. It's a lot of cocaine. It's a lot of
Adderall.
Yes. Eugene is a part of an amazing cartoon, Star Trek Lower Decks, that's coming out next week. Mm-hmm. Eugene, is that next week?
Yeah.
Season
awesome.
2. Season 2, which I'm also a part of.
And what channel's that on?
That's Paramount Plus now.
Great, just so everyone knows.
Used to be CBS All Access, but yeah, like I just think that comedy is like one of those things that you can be inspired by. Like I like the actor Keith David. You know who that is?
Oh yes.
Yeah, like he's such a serious, grounded actor that even his drama is comedy. And that's why I like to think of myself as, it's like, I'm a dramatic actor, but like the things that these guys write for me, and just picking up the energy of everybody on set, man, just automatically just drops you in as long as you are able to connect. So I don't think I'm very funny by myself, but with these guys, I think I'm a fucking hoot. So
well, that makes me think, actually, Kevin and Steve, I'm sure you've been asked this a lot, but I did, just as you were talking, Marcus, made me think of like how under mentioned Leslie Nielsen is.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my God, Canadian, yeah.
It is crazy though, because I remember like growing up watching Leslie Nielsen, and he'd be in these hard-boiled action movies.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I saw him in a movie called Day of the Animals, where he was a really bad dude, and that's how I knew Leslie Nielsen. And then all of a sudden, he was in,
Naked Gun.
Naked Gun, but the TV show.
Oh yeah, Police Squad.
Police Squad, yeah.
And then Airplane, all those movies, and it was like, holy shit! Like,
And he played it so straight, like
Right.
it was to him, it was drama.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't call me Shirley.
He also did Surf Ninjas instead of Dennis the Menace, which I think is brilliant.
Good call. Yeah. Good.
Very
move,
good call.
career watch.
Well, Dennis the Menace has Walter Matthau, and I think Dennis the Menace is an
That's my
underrated
dude.
great movie. I love Dennis the Menace.
All ties together, you guys.
Yeah, it really does.
You know, I'm all about I'm really about just all of the like intellectual stuff rather than any kind of visual thing. So that's where I connect the best. When it comes to comedy, if we're still talking about comedy, I really like all of the intellectual stuff rather than the visual.
Eugene, what do you watch today? Like, what's a show you watch today? If it's Ted Lasso, pick another thing.
Sure. I watched a show called Ned Tasso.
2.5 Men. Yeah, okay.
It's Tasso.
What do I watch? I mean, I don't know. I watch a bunch of reality shows just because I think everybody is bonkers in real life.
Also, there's some incredible comedic performances on those shows because they're not trying to be funny. I study Love Island because I'm like, that's the if Maya Rudolph or Kristen Wiig had to do that scene, that's the choice they would make. Like,
sure.
So sometimes look at real people that are hilarious by accident. I'm like, oh, that's a good choice.
Yeah, it gives you an opportunity to realize how far you can really go because you're like, wait, real people are doing this? Oh,
are so much funnier. Yeah.
If that was an actor, people would be like totally overacting.
Yeah, and then that way it's
Totally.
just like, this is a real person who is acting absolutely bonkers. I have so much more room than I thought.
That's
as a
exactly
human
it.
being.
Exactly. Like, because as a comedian, sometimes you're like, oh, is this, or, you feel like, is this too broad? Is this too far? And you watch shows like that and you're like, nope, no.
Yeah.
This subtle thing is just, I don't have to make all these subtle choices. In order to be grounded, I don't have to be, sane.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
True.
What in Improv Nation? What?
True.
True TV.
Good point.
True TV.
True TV. Very true TV. Very true TV.
When does the new season start?
Huh?
Hey, I'm hosting
what?
this. I'm hosting this. Hey, everyone calm down.
That's what we're talking
Take
about.
over.
That's season 3 Hassie
take
Harrison
over.
right there.
Hassie, take over.
That's season 3 Hassie Harrison.
Excuse me, I am running this. When does the new season start? The question I thought of.
All right.
When does the new season start? And why doesn't Hassie know?
Tonight, I think.
We start on September 16th, Thursday, September 16th.
Mhm.
And at 10 o'clock, right, on True TV.
Yeah,
And,
13
13
episodes.
episodes.
13 episodes, 13 weeks of us. And then
No
you
shows
can also-
do that much now.
Can I also
You
say
can also watch seasons 1 and season 2 on HBO Max already.
And we got a ton of marathons coming up on TV soon. So, just turn it on True TV on your TV while you're doing laundry.
On your TiVo. No, this show is good enough to watch without doing something else at the same time.
Thank you.
But I'm saying you can do something else and watch the show at the same. That way people don't have to say, I have to wait until everything is done. They can just do it right then and there.
So when you're doing chores, this is the show to watch in the background.
Yeah. This is definitely a chore show. Yeah.
I mean, The Office is a chore show.
Yeah.
This question comes from festival sponsor Citi. Is there a particular castmate that makes it difficult to stay in character in the scenes during season 3 where you all couldn't help but like break character sometimes?
Hassie.
Hassie, do you want to speak for once? With this crew?
Gabe makes me laugh a lot. There's one episode where he
Stop it.
kind of takes the role of the kid. No?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Listen to Steve. It's fine. We have lots of time.
No, there was one improv. It was like towards the end of the season where Gabe kind of plays like consigliere to Cap and
Googling consigliere. Okay.
But the two of them kind of had this awesome dynamic, and I remember it was super late, and I was just like, I think we all just had tears streaming.
I think it's the hardest I've laughed on set. And
right?
We were no, but we were talking about this the other night where it's so fun. We're laughing so hard. And I remember leaving going, I hope some of that fucking worked. It's so funny to us in the moment, like getting through. And I hope they got something that could like.
But the funny thing is that we hadn't covered it from my coverage. And remember, Gabe, like you came up with that idea in between the coverage. You're like, fuck, I just figured it out. And so we started doing it from that coverage, and we couldn't get through it. We were laughing our asses off, having a fun time doing it. And if you look past the camera, there was Heffernan getting pissed off.
Right.
Which just makes it funnier.
It's too late. Yeah. There was like so many like and Nat Faxon was in that. Like we had so many people in that scene too.
By the way, the same thing's happening right now. He's pissed because we're 30 minutes over.
Oh, I love this. It's on set, you know.
Who did not get to answer? Eugene, did you answer the Citi question of the day?
Who makes it hard? Well, I make it hard on everybody because I don't learn my stuff. So I get everybody angry. I think that's different from trying to keep it together. I think everybody's trying to stay professional. I don't know. I mean, to be honest, Chief makes me laugh so hard. Kevin makes me laugh really, really hard.
You totally break Chief.
And it makes it hard for me to keep it straight because he hates me in the show. And it makes me laugh so hard that it's hard for me to be sad when I watch him be mad at me. So.
This season, we really dove into your guys' relationship. Like you guys have a lot of subplots this season.
Yeah, there's a lot of in Chief stuff.
Yeah, we've got the carpet thing from the Whitney Cummings episode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Look,
we've got a cologne thing going where you're helping.
Make cologne together, yeah.
Yeah.
well, what I will say is that when I watch your show, and there's nothing I love more than feeling like the cast loves each other. And something I love that you guys do in real shows, in real life, friends make each other laugh. And then in shows, someone will say something hilarious and everyone's like, it's like they would have laughed at that. You know, like you'll let characters laugh at each other within the world too, which is so cool. And I never know if it's intentional or if you're breaking, but I mean, my favorite show ever besides your show now is going to dethrone Martin, which is my favorite show. And by season 3, everyone was just was laughing and just covering their faces because they were laughing at Martin. In real life, they couldn't hold it together. And I loved watching that. I loved being like, oh my God, these people really like each other. They really find each other funny. Well, Kevin, I feel like I know we have to wrap up. Is there anything else you two want to say just in terms of the show coming out, what to expect, where we can find it? Luckily, we get to find shows a bunch of places these days, but I always feel like we have to be super clear exactly where to find shows.
Yes, True TV. And it's going to premiere September 16th. Thursday night, 10 p.m. And you can watch the first 2 seasons on HBO Max to get all caught up.
Great.
And then you can tune in September, all the way through the fall, up to Christmas. We'll be with you every Thursday. 13
Thursdays in a row.
Yeah.
That is so rare. It's so unusual now, isn't it?
It is. It's weird, yeah. You know, my friends are like, hey, I find myself tuning into TV again, you know, it's we don't do that anymore. Now you just binge watch stuff.
But you don't drop them all at once. It's I think there's something great about the routine of I get to hang out with my friends on Thursday night, and sometimes I don't want to watch a show because I'm like, there's 10 here, like I'm just gonna now my whole night is shot. I'm not gonna I'm gonna have to watch. I like when people give me the opportunity to not binge something.
Yeah, but it better be good then, right? Because you only get half an hour.
Yes.
But if you do want to binge it, you can binge the first 2 seasons on HBO.
Yeah, you binge that for sure. Thank you for joining us and for this special PaleyFest Fall TV Previews conversation with members of the wonderful cast and creative team behind True TV's Tacoma FD. And thanks to PaleyFest's official card and official sponsor, Citi. You can learn more about the PaleyFest Center. You can learn more about the Paley Center. Why am I trying to pretend I memorized this? Pathetic. By visiting paleycenter.org.